Welcome back. This is Matthew Conlon. I am using my phone for all these videos. I was just going to call, interrupted a previous video. I don't know how to continue it. I'll get a real camera later. But for right now, if you're coming back, then this is my fifth video, I think, as a response to MasakoX's Broly and Cheelai spin-off series, where I started a story where a criminal syndicate called the Cheelai Syndicate, headed up by Boss Cheelai, this sort of fat rat dude, thinks that the planet Vampa is worth something because Frieza doesn't want people going there. So he goes to investigate, or rather he sends his minions to investigate, and the first minion he sends is this guy Zol-Gorgon. When we left off, Zol-Gorgon had just interrupted his fight with Broly to have a salad, and they'd had a conversation where he realized that Broly didn't actually work for Frieza. Broly is starting to let his guard down a little bit because Zol-Gorgon doesn't seem like a bad guy. He's just a jobber, kind of. And so Zol-Gorgon tells him, hey man, you had me. Like, that fight was over when I stopped it. I knew you were about to power up and do something crazy, and I was already at my limit. But I still have one trick left. Do you want to see it? Because in all honesty, I'm just interested in seeing how high you can go. And so Broly, if he's letting his guard down, is thinking, all right, this guy seems straightforward. He fights head on. He hits really hard. He's not the type to use, tricks or lies. So, sure, he's starting to think of this more as like a friendly sparring match. Meanwhile, Cheelai and Lemmo had used a combination of drone parts and a capsule core flying van to go up into orbit and try and disable Zol-Gorgon's ship. So they're doing like a spacewalk thing, and there's all this crazy danger because, boarding an enemy ship is dangerous. There are no other troops on there. It's just tricky. They manage to get in, they disable the communications. They land the ship just in time to see that Broly is, for some reason, going legendary Super Saiyan green aura, green sky for some reason. So we cut back to a few minutes earlier where the two of them have finished their salad, they're limbering up, and Zol-Gorgon transforms his horns into these sort of horn formation. And he puts two fingers to his nose, like so. And what's going to happen is he's going to cover up his nose and keep his mouth closed and then blow through the horns. And that's supposed to create a powerful pressure wave and sound that pulverizes stone, disorients, and deafens. However, Broly, he's done a little bit of training with Goku. He fought Goku and Vegeta in the Super Broly movie. So he sees those two fingers come up, and he thinks he already knows what's coming. He's seen that move before. So what ends up happening is Zol-Gorgon puts his fingers to his nose. Broly says, ha, I know that trick, and then turns around because he's expecting Goku's instant transmission. He's expecting Zol-Gorgon's going to disappear, reappear behind him, try and get a sneak attack in. But that's not what happens at all. Instead, he spins around, nothing's there, and he ends up completely off guard and takes that blast full on from behind. And it just sends him flying. It devastates the surrounding. The noise is so strong, it creates a stampede of all those spiders. Even those big green rabbits are fleeing out of their holes, slurping over the side. I don't know what they look like when they're on the move. So they go tearing off. And that sends Broly over the edge. He was being trusting. He thought he was, they had moved from being enemies to being friends, and that was going to be like a friendly sparring match. And then he feels like he just took this sneak attack. So he immediately goes ballistic and starts to go into his berserker rage. So he's exploding all over the place. The sky's turning green. He's doing his Broly thing. Zol-Gorgon is totally out of his depth. He has no idea what just happened. He didn't think that Broly would turn his back on him. That came as unexpected. And now he's just trying to figure out what's happening. He's doing the best he can to defend himself from all the blasts and the explosions. So Lemmo and Cheelai go charging forward. They end up having to fight their way through all the spiders and dodge the giant rabbits and stuff. They get up to the place and they see Zol-Gorgon, and he sees them, and he's like, "What's going on? What happened?" He quickly explains that Broly turned around in the middle of their fight, and he ended up taking a blast full on from the back. Cheelai sort of puts it together that like he must have felt betrayed, and that triggered like this great anger, and that caused him to go fully berserk. And she says, "We've got to try and stop him." And Lemmo's just like, "What are you talking about? We just need to run away. Let him waste this criminal syndicate guy, and we'll get out of here. He'll calm down eventually." But Cheelai says, "No, we can't do that. I have an idea. I think it'll work. Just distract him long enough." So Lemmo is like, "Distract him? What do you want me to do?" And she's like, Cheelai points over at the spider carcass from the salad lunch earlier. Says, "Use that." And so Lemmo goes out and he puts on like the spider carcass as sort of a costume. He's, scraping out the muck from inside the parts, and he gets up and he starts shouting like, "Gah, gah!" to try and get Broly's attention. Meanwhile, Cheelai sneaks around and she like pulls something out of her pocket or her belt pouch, and she's creeping up a switchback path that's going to take her to a cliff over Broly where his attention isn't being focused. And so just as Broly is about to annihilate Spider Lemmo in his creepy spider costume, Zol-Gorgon charges his big Taur-Taur Minotaur Centaur body out in front and takes a blast full on to protect Lemmo. And so Lemmo doesn't die. Zol-Gorgon is close because he ended up taking that blast full bore. And then Cheelai leaps down while Broly's distracted, and her hands are free because whatever she took out isn't in them anymore. And she grabs onto him with both hands and then kisses him. And it's played like super romantic for maybe like a full half a second. And then Broly like pushes her off, and it seems like his mouth is full of something. And then, we cut to a close-up of Cheelai, and she smiles, and you can see that she has the like orange rind in her teeth. So she's just got that big creepy orange smile. And then Broly's like chewing something, and his eyes sort of go wide because oranges are sweet and juicy and delicious. And then he swallows it. And that sort of brings him out of his rage. Zol-Gorgon is kind of bleeding out, and they run over. Broly realizes Zol-Gorgon protected his friend. He's sort of sad that he lost control again like that. And Zol-Gorgon tells them all, "Looks like this is the end of the road for me." And Cheelai says, "No, we must be able to do something." And he responds, "Well, there's a healing pod on my ship, but I can't make it in my current condition. And my controller got broke in that last blast." So, Broly's like, "Oh, this is all my fault. I lost control again." And then Cheelai and Lemmo say, "Well, the thing is, your ship's like just right over there." And so they take him over, and let's see if I can get this in frame. They take him over, and he ends up in his little healing pod, and he gets healed up. And from there on out, Zol-Gorgon will function as a sort of, I want to say Piccolo type of character for the rest of this little arc, where he's like a bro. He doesn't see himself as Broly's rival. He has no desire to try and push himself to loftier heights of power like Goku and Vegeta would. he's just there, and he would warn the group that Boss Cheelai is not gonna take that lying down, and that'll be it for that. And that's where we start. I have some ideas for some other minions for Boss Cheelai to send out, like sort of flower-esque type character who uses toxins to suppress memories. And so there would be a little story where Broly forgets Cheelai and Lemmo. After that whole thing, Lemmo would sort of tease Cheelai and say, well, I didn't realize you guys had that kind of relationship. And she'd be very upset and offended. We don't. And he'd say, well, you didn't have to kiss him if all you were going to do is just shove something in his mouth. And, she sort of defends herself. Like, I needed both hands to hang on, okay? I couldn't hold on with just one hand. And so that's sort of where we're going with that. I will gladly do more of those if people put things in the comments. I will try and incorporate anything cool that you come up with yourself. So by all means, if you want to collaborate on this little thing for fun, I would totally be interested in doing that too. My name is Matt Conlon. This was a response to MasakoX's Broly and Cheelai spin-off series video. I'd love to do more. I'll be posting other stuff on my channel while I try and find its voice. And I look forward to hearing from anybody that watches this. Thank you so much, and have a great day. Stay safe.